I thank the Chair. I'd like to welcome the witnesses again and thank you for your time and expertise today. And my first question is going to be for you, Dr. Post. As I mentioned in my opening statement, hundreds of jobs in the district I represent and thousands in my home state of Texas involve the manufacture, sale, distribution, marketing of snack products, including wholesome and nutritious products. These products qualify as healthy under the FDA regulations and are eligible under the Healthier U.S. School Challenge, a federal nutrition program. I'm referring to products like Sun Chips, Baked Lay's potato crisps, and Baked Cheetos snacks. And yet, the IWG draft proposal would deem them unacceptable. And to make things more confusing, put a little sign here. My staff has told me that classic hummus, right here, is sold under the Sabre label, is not restricted, but green olive hummus, sold under the same label, is restricted. Why is green olive hummus a threat to children's health and not classic hummus? Help me understand why there's such a disconnect between these federal agencies.
Well, as I had mentioned earlier, we did in fact do analyses of food composition, the products that are commonly out there in the world of advertising. And in our findings, products like the whole wheat bread and the other products, even the baked chips that you had there, would in fact be permissible and allowable under our structure. Some products, because of higher sodium contents, would fail. I mean, I imagine olives as a source of an ingredient in a food would be a problem. We were interested in following the dietary guidelines. And in that regard, we were looking for reductions in sodium, saturated fat, certainly sugars as well. And so in some cases, the threshold couldn't be achieved. But there are certainly a lot of products that would be viable out there for marketing.
I know, sir. With all due respect, we're talking about a lot of marketing. And look at the packages. Exactly the same except for 3 words here. Greek olive hummus, classic hummus. And again, I appreciate what you're talking about, some of the sodium and what olives might add, but the fact is we're here talking about advertising. Those 2 products look the same to a kid, to an adult. And I think it's, we've got to be careful here because, again, we can't, the responsibility ultimately rests with parents. And that, to me, in my mind, is not some sort of danger to children's health. I mean, no child is going to look at that different packaging and say, Mom, I want that one because it's classic, or Mom, I want that one because it's olives. Question for you, Dr. Vladeck. I'm troubled by your testimony today. In response to a question from my colleague, Mr. Shimkus from Illinois, regarding the FTC's role in recommending specific nutritional standards in the IWG process, you said that the Commission should and did defer to USDA's judgment given their subject matter expertise on nutritional standards. Yet, in a July 15, 2010 memo written at your request by attorneys in the Division of Advertising Practices at FTC, Mr. Chairman, I ask unanimous consent to put this memo in the record. Mr. Chairman, I ask unanimous consent to put this memo in the record.
So ordered.
Thank you, sir. Employees at the FTC expressed strong disagreement with the nutritional standards recommended by the USDA. In the memo, attorneys at your commission delve into inherently scientific questions about nutrition, such as proper thresholds for sodium intake and the associated risks related to blood pressure in children. Commission employees also expressed concern with the saturated and trans fat levels recommended by USDA. This memo seems to contradict your assertion to Mr. Shimkus just a few minutes ago that FTC did not involve itself in nutritional aspects of the working group process. I find your juxtaposition of this letter and your statements troubling. Can you explain your assertion and this seemingly contradictory fact? I've got a copy of the memo if you need it, sir.
I'm aware of this memo. I think the thrust of this memo is that we were worried, and there were many drafts. As you know, this process is, we're in our 2nd year of this process, and we're not done. But what we were concerned about was one of the interim USDA proposals may have cut back on industry's own self-regulatory efforts. If you look at page 3, what we are concerned about is that there was a USDA proposal that might actually be weaker than some of the industry self-regulatory guidelines. And that was a cause of concern to us. I would note that this is an internal US FTC memo. I'm not sure that this was shared with anyone other than within the FTC. And this is simply a memo to me suggesting that there may be concerns about the IWG process if we're going to undercut industry's own self-regulatory efforts.
I appreciate it, sir. Beginning with your testimony, Mr. Shimkus, you said the FDA, you defer to USDA's judgment about subject matter expertise on these nutritional standards.
USDA, FTC, and CDC. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Again, I don't believe this is a proper role for the FTC. I've run out of time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chairman. Yield back.